Going on YouTube, Cloverwell here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and in today's video we're going to showcase two teams that you can use in your upcoming Grand Challenge. So I've had a few people ask me, hey Clover, can you give me an easy team or something interesting to use for the Grand Challenge? And I said, you know what? Actually, I think I can. So I'm going to give you two squads, okay? And they're pretty easy to pilot in terms of, you know, games, because again, you have to remember with Grand Challenge, it's a lot of games, okay? Some of you may want to just try and do it in one or two sittings, you know, but that's a ton of games. And ideally, the way I view it in terms of that perspective is you want something that can play fast. All right, so either you win fast or maybe you could even like lose fast, but I'm going to give you something that's still like pretty solid and consistent overall. And again, it's meant for best of one stuff, okay? And that's the advantage here. You know, it's closed team sheets. So they kind of have to play a guessing game sometimes with what you have. And if you're running like a Pokemon that wants to run 8 moves, that's great, because then you can use that to your advantage. And then they kind of have to guess where some of your moves and some of your tech ideas are. Okay, so I think the easiest way to start things off is we're going to use a kind of Psyspam team, but a different kind of Psyspam team with some recent meta developments. So we're gonna have the Indeedee male actually, okay? And what this is going to do is it's going to set the psychic terrain, but at the same time, we're also going to use Imprison, okay? So the way this works is we're going to have Expanding Force, we're going to have Imprison, and we're still also going to have Trick Room. So this way, we are the ones clicking Expanding Force, but our opponents are not. So this way, we can lock them out of, you know, them clicking Expanding Force. And then we'll add the Sneasler here. So we've done something like this before when we released our Sneasler video, when we put out 5 teams that included Sneasler, and this was one of them in terms of having the Psychic Seeds idea, you know, with the Unburden boost. But this team now is going to be a little bit different based on some of the tech moves I'm going to show you here, okay? And it's actually a different 6 overall. But, you know, again, with the Indeedee, we're going to have the Focus Sash here. So male Indeedee is going to do a lot of damage here. And then what's really going to be cool is we're going to have Terra fighting Terra Blast, okay? And I saw this idea, you know, from recent regionals, so this is going to be a pretty cool team, I would say. And then from here, the Sneasler, we can just go like Terra Dark, for example. I think this is okay. And then we'll just go like Dire Claw, Close Combat, Throat Chop, and then Protect, okay? Again, Terra Dark Sneasler is kind of funny when you think about it, especially when you have Throat Chop over here. And you can't use sound moves, right? So no Hyper Voice shenanigans coming from those Primarinas, which are relatively annoying. So that's really nice. You can kind of disable that. And then from here, where are we going to get a little bit more offense from the special? And yes, we have the Indeedee. Yes, we have the Sneasler. So we're going to have some Tailwind Hyper offense here. We're going to have the Whimsicott, and then we're also going to run the Delphox here. Because again, after, you know, Baltimore, Delphox was a Pokemon that started to shine a little bit more. And we're going to take advantage of that in the Global Challenge. So we're going to have Covert Cloak here, which is still important to have, even though we have the Psychic Terrains, because sometimes you don't have it available at that particular turn. So I think that's important. Terra Water is also really nice against the Hisuian Typhlosion Eruption stuff, as well as Goldengo Make It Rain Resist. And then we'll just have Tailwind, Moonblast, Encore, and Sunny Day ourselves. So this way our Delphox can be the ones clicking the big moves here. We're going to use Choice Specs here, so this way we can get out tons of damage. And then it's going to be Expanding Force, Heat Wave, Overheat for our single target movement. Also Terra Blast, Terra Fighting. Again, it's for like the Arcaladin matchup. It's for Maushold. It's for you know, the Porygon stuff, Ursaluna for that matter. So I like this a lot in terms of these 4. And now this is where we get to play the game a little bit with these last 2 slots. So we're gonna have Maushold, okay, and we're gonna have Annihilape. But again, they have to play a little bit of a guessing game. You know, is this thing beat up? Is this thing, you know, population bomb kind of sets? And our Annihilape is going to be Assault Vest. Yes, believe it or not. You know, I've been using this a little bit, and oh my goodness, it's quite funny certain times. So what you could do is you could go like Terra Fire, Assault Vest, and now you just completely wall out that Typhlosion. You know, you could tell how much damage this is going to absorb in the Eruption, Sunny Day stuff. Even with Terra Fire, it's like barely 50%. So I kind of like that. And then from here, the Maushold, we're going to just go the Technician Population Bomb set. But at the same time, along with Protect, we're still going to use Beat Up. So now we have a lot of options in terms of what we have. Because then if they see Population Bomb, they're going to think that you're not beat up. But then you also have beat up at the end of the day, which is kind of funny. I'm gonna go the wide lens stuff here. And this is not doing as much damage as you think to your Annihilape. Even though we're gonna go like max attack here, it doesn't do that much damage to your Annihilape, I promise. Then we just go to max speed here, literally max speed, and then just go Jolly. And then this Annihilape set, you can pretty much go almost max speed here. We're still gonna go like Adamant. And this set here is going to be Final Gambit, still Close Combat, Rage Fist, and then just Drain Punch, you know, for your 4th tech move here. So I like this a lot. You know, you can kind of see the shenanigans going on here with Maushold and Annihilape. And then at the same time, you know, you can click Final Gambit. You don't have to. They may think you might, or they don't even think you have this if you're running, you know, this type of 6. But in reality, you do have it, right? So you always have that for you. And then this is just like, you know, Close Combat, Rage Fist. You already know what these moves do. So from here, I think you can technically just do this, where like you can just max the speed and just max the HP like this. But if you want to put like a little bit of investment, so then what I would do is just something like this, where we have about 220 speed. This way you outspeed the like modest Goldengos at the very least. Let's get the even number in the Assault Vest. And then you can have a little bit of attack and then just dump the rest here into HP. Now, again, you might think, oh, that's taking away from my Final Gambit damage. Not really, per se. You know, whatever you want to KO, you are already KOing from this range. I tried looking and I didn't see anything else that made a difference in terms of like having, you know, a couple more extra EVs like this. So I think this is still fine from what we wanted out of the Annihilape here in terms of Final Gambit, in terms of our HP, right? So I kind of like this. And then after this, you know, again, pretty straightforward stuff. Modest 252. And then just, you know, just go mod. You can literally go modest here. Then the Sneasler, again, with the Psychic Seeds and Burden stuff. Again, you can also just literally go max speed for the mirror stuff. 1 or 2 points here in the special defense for the Psychic Seeds. Just go to the 3rd benchmark here in the attack stat, and then just round it out here in the HP like this. Whimsicott, same thing. You know, again, the mirror matchup is always tricky, so you can just always go timid here and just literally max HP, you know, at the end of the day, and then just dump the rest into like speed. And I think that's like totally fine for what we want out of our Whimsicott. So this is modest. The Sneasler is adamant nature. Yes, the Whimsicott is also timid. Delphox is the one we didn't EV. Just go timid here because, again, mirror matchups are important. And, you know, your spec set anyway. And we already talked about the Maushold and the Annihilape, all right? So this is our first team here. So you can kind of see the fun combinations with this stuff. Again, you can click Tailwind's, you know, Expanding Force, expand, you know, Tailwind Heat Wave. You can switch in the Indeedee if you fear King Gambit shenanigans. And then at the same time, you have a lot with using your Sneasler in terms of like fighting coverage overall. And this is just a very aggressive team. You know what? Honestly, this could even work. I think this works very well in best of 3 at the same time. So I kind of like this 6. I was inspired when I was doing some research on the Lab Mouse website, and I figured, you know what, let's just use something like this. So this is our first team. Let's do a couple test games just to see how it functions. All right, so this is a pretty standard team in terms of recent developments after Baltimore. This guy's using the Blaziken team. And honestly, I just prefer Volcarona on that 6, but, you know, to each their own. I think Blaziken is quite good in terms of having that fighting coverage for the, you know, for the Archelid and stuff, but at the same time, I think I like Sneasler a little bit better at the same time too. So that being said, he's gonna go the Blaziken Dragapult stuff. So this is coaching, and that's totally fine. He can also just protect and just get a speed boost that way. So I kind of want to just go into Indeedee first and click Tailwind, or even just hit the Moonblast here. So I survived Terra Blast, which is great. This is why Whimsicott HP bulk is so good. We chipped the Dragapult. He goes coaching again, but now what we can do is just go Tailwind Expanding Force. The Dragapult can't live this, and I know that. And he already Terra'd, so that's bad news for the Blaziken. And yes, he does have a Sash, but that's not going to really matter, right? So he's +2 now, but he still is not outspeeding. He goes King Gambit here. This is where you go Fighting Terra Blast, nuke the King Gambit. There's no Terra available because he already committed it to the Dragapult, and this is part of the tech that you have on the Indeedee. And now the King Gambit matchup is totally solved and it's totally fine. It was already. He goes here, but again, like the Pre-Marina, what does that really do? He still doesn't even outspeed me after +3, right? So Citrus Berry here, again, just Hyper Voice, but this doesn't matter because again, at the end, we can just do our Delphox stuff, but he already just forfeits regardless, right? All right, perfect. So this guy has the, Typhlosion stuff with Whimsicott here. So this is the perfect matchup where I can show you the value of the Assault Vest Annihilape into something like this. And he's got Politoed here for some reason. I couldn't tell you, but I guess it's the range stuff with Perish Song Haze with the Archeladon. I've seen that. But here we go. Whimsicott, and here's the Typhlosion. So I could have done two things here, but in the end, I just decided to protect the Maushold. Either way, I always Terrify the Annihilape here. He goes Sunny Day, goes Eruption. I wanted to at least keep the Maushold for one turn. So now what I can do is just simply Rage Fist. I could have even Drain Punched him if I wanted. But look how little that did, right? So now I can click Follow Me. He still clicks Eruption anyway. It still does a lot, right? But now we can just KO it here with the Typhlosion. I think I probably should have just clicked Drain Punch first. So now Maushold gets to redirect the Whimsicott Moonblast, and he did its job, right? So Typhlosion gone. Now Sneasler comes in and just finishes the game. So there's his Ursaluna. Now I'm just going to go Indeedee, and now even though he clicks Tailwind, I get to outspeed him anyway. And just click Close Combat and just end things, right? Because he already committed the Terra. So look how fast these games are going, right? So now all he has left is something like an Archeladon, but again, that can't Terra either. So just quick Close Combat. He actually lives this, so good EVs there from the Archeladon. But that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because, we still have the Indeedee here clicking things. And he committed to the Sneasler anyway, so yeah, that just doesn't matter. So at the end, now we can just go Annihilape here, and it really doesn't matter what he clicks because the game is over at this point. But again, you see how fast like all these games are going, right? Just 4 or 5 turns. If they get the turn 1 wrong, this team can absolutely just punish them, which is the goal of the global. I keep calling it a global challenge. It's the grand challenge. Okay, the second team I'm going to show you revolves around these three. It's going to use Hisuian-Zoroark. And in my opinion, Zoroark is like the perfect grand challenge Pokemon because you have to play the shenanigans with the illusion stuff. And I think that's kind of funny if they just get it wrong completely and then you just lose the game just because you did not know that it was a Zoroark or you called it wrong, right? And then now you add stuff like Dondozo Tatsugiri. So you have to ask yourself, oh man, is that actually Dondozo or is that actually something else in the back? You kind of hard to tell because usually you'll always leave Dondozo plus something with Tatsugiri in the back. That's pretty standard, but is it actually Dondozo? So this is where you can really mess with the opponent here and force them to make a play. So what I also like here with these with this three, so I'm gonna go choice specs here. So we'll just build with these three first because I got some ideas here. So Zoroark here with the choice specs, then you just have the 3 standard moves with Hyper Voice, Shadow Ball, and then you can also have Flamethrower here, which is great into stuff like Rillaboom and Amoonguss. And then you can just do stuff like, what is it? I guess you can do Terra Stellar. I think that, a little bit more damage on that opening turn is good. And then you can do Sludge Bomb, which is great against Primarina, right? Because again, people are going to want to bring Primarina against Dondozo to try and haze it, but then you just bring out Sludge Bomb, and then it's like, wait, what? That thing gets Sludge Bomb? Huh? What's clicking this? And then they realize, oh, it's the Zoroark. And it just absolutely nukes the Primarina. So I kind of like that a lot. And then, my call here, I'll talk about Dondozo in a second, but I want to go to Tatsugiri, is how about Ability Shield Tatsugiri? Because look, after Baltimore and after people are, looking at Wolf Glick's Weezing stuff, how about you just go Ability Tatsugiri and just bypass the Weezing altogether? And they're going to think like, oh, he can't do Dondozo, I'm going to bring Weezing and my problem is solved. But then you crack out the Ability Shield Tatsugiri, boom, and then they just don't know what to do now, right? So I think this is pretty good. And then we'll just go like, clear Amulet, Dondozo, so this way you don't get intimidated. We'll go order up, Wave Crash, of course. Then we'll go Terra Blast and then Protect here. So you can even do like Heavy Slam here. But you can also do stuff like Substitute here, I think is also pretty solid overall. You could even do like Chestoberry Rest Set. I think some people will definitely like consider this at the same time. But I kind of like this. I just like Clear Amulet, and I like Terra Blast, and we're gonna go Terra Grass still. You can even go like Terra Blast, Terra Electric. I think that's also quite good at the same time. But this lets you get around Amoonguss. This lets you nuke the Primarina that wants to haze you. And literally, we'll just go like Jolly Max Speed Dondozo. And I think just by going Jolly, you get to win potential mirror matchups, especially if they're adamant. And, 95 is going to be faster than a lot of Primarinas anyway. So I think that's quite good when you think about it here. And then this Tatsugiri, so, with the ability shield, will have Protect. We'll have Muddy Water. We'll have Draco Meteor. Then you can go for something like Icy Wind. You can also just simply go Dragon Pulse here. And I think that's also okay. So, you know, you can consider that. I think we can just go like Terra Water or Terra Steel here. I think this was alright. But if you still like Icy Wind, you can definitely consider that. Then after this, so this is where things get interesting, right? So you have the main three, but I like stuff like Dragapult, believe it or not. And then I also like Farigiraf here. And then round it out with Pawmod, okay? So again, I was, you know, just doing a little bit of research. I got this inspiration from a player named Ametrine. They've been playing this 6, but what we're doing is we're kind of adjusting it a little bit for the Grand Challenge and just using our own sets with it. But this was the 6 they were running. And, you know, it works in best of 3, but at the same time, I think it'll definitely do well in best of 1, right? So I'm just using my own sets with this, but shoutouts to Ametrine for the original 6. Anyway, just Dragapult is also so good. Again, Dragon Darts, Outrage, Phantom Force, and then U-Turn for pivoting. I think this is also quite solid. For Farigiraf, so what you're going to do is, just like the first team, we're just going to go Imprison Trick Room. Just shut that down. And also, you can also do Hyper Voice. So now you can also imprison opposing Hyper Voices from the Primarinas and even the Ursalunas, right? And then Mental Herb, you don't want to get taunted by stuff like Talonflame, so we'll do that. Helping Hand for a little bit more damage. And then, of course, the Armor Tail for denying priority moves overall. And then Pawmod, we already know what this thing can do. So, you know, Pawmod, you can just do either Natural Cure, Iron Fist, either way. I think it's okay. We can just do Natural Cure. I think this is also fine. You know, but with Pawmod, it's always just interesting, just in terms of like bringing it back with like Revival Blessing here. But at the same time, I also think Volt Absorb is quite good. Again, even though there's not that many electric types running around, I still think the Volt Absorb is okay. But if you like Natural Cure, then you can definitely also do the Natural Cure stacks, right? So anyway, Close Combat, Fake Out, of course, then the Double Shock. And then from here, you can also just do Revival Blessing. Of course, right? The whole point is to bring back my Dondozo. You can even just do either Terra Electric. Terra Stellar is also like quite nice. I put Double Edge here. Double Shock. There we go. Yeah, and then you could just do like Max here. I think this is like also fine. Where's this thing? Jolly. Yeah, right there. So stuff like this. And then same thing with Dragapult, you can also just go simple Jolly Spread, just to be like the fastest kind of Pult. My Farigiraf has some bulk here, so I've been using this one just because of how common King Gambit is. So I just went to about 224 here for the Rillaboom Grassy Terrain stuff, you know, optimal recovery, factor of 16. And I went to 204 defense. This is enough to survive Adamant 252 Black Glasses Kowtow Cleave from King Gambit, right? So the strongest kind of Kowtow Cleave with the Black Glasses, and you absolutely live that. And then after this is just leftover EVs. You can just dump this here in special defense and reach triple digits in your SPDF stat. So I think this was also okay. Now, I also like Terra Water, again, for the same reason as the other one. Just survive the eruption from the Whimsicott Typhlosion stuff. You know people are going to play it, right? So you kind of have to just bring out the Farigiraf and do things that way. And then, of course, you know, just the Zoroark here, just go max. I think this is like also fine. You can just go Timid here, and Dondozo we already talked about. Tatsugiri, you know what, honestly this thing is actually all, I just realized this, almost all this is just you know, Timid 252s or Jolly 252s, because you know we're just trying to hit hard and be really fast. The only thing here is the Farigiraf has some bulk, but either way, I think we have exactly what we want. This is Steel, this is Grass, this is Stellar. Yeah, so again, another you know, global challenge team with Hisuian-Zoroark. And again, they have to play like some guessing games here. So it's kind of funny when it works. And you only need it to work once, right? So let me show you some games with this. Perfect. So I actually ran into someone like trying to use Weezing. So this is like a pretty standard balance team with Volk balance. And then you have Weezing and the slacking, right? So this is where something like the Ability Shield Tatsugiri is really going to come into play here. So I'm going to let this run here. So he's obviously just going to start with the Weezing. Of course, without a doubt, they always start with the Weezing. So here's my Dragapult and Dondozo, right? So Weezing slacking here. But, you know, because he has the Weezing, he just removes my Zoroark ability, which is still fine, right? Because I just want to deal a ton of damage all in all. The real secret, again, is the Ability Shield Tatsugiri, right? So we pop the Weezing Berry. He tries the Will-O-Wisp. This is why I protected Dozo here. But now we go into Tatsugiri, Ability Shield. All right, there we go. Dondozo comes out. And that means goodbye Weezing. He didn't even try and protect it, right? So you just wanted to try and Will-O-Wisp this. So now slacking, of course, he went for knockoff. But at the end of the day, Truant is going to come out. And he says, you know what? I'm not even going to play that. Thank you, Clover. You got me. See ya. All right, goodbye Weezing. All right, another Tailwind stuff here. You know people are going to play this Whimsicott Typhlosion stuff. And then he's got a dragon in there. He's got 2 dragons. But we have the faster dragon, and that's important, right? So as long as we're able to like withstand this Whimsicott here, Dragapult will win me this endgame. So I'm just gonna go Dondozo and my Dragapult yet again, right? So there's the Whimsicott and there is the Garchomp. Is this Dragapult or is this my Zoroark? So I'm gonna go Tatsugiri right here, right now, actually, and just do the swap immediately, get some damage, preserve the Dragapult in the endgame, get rid of this Chomp here. He goes for Dragon Claw. He guessed wrong, so you know, I think we'll run into better players like this, but he goes for Taunt there, I guess not making sure I don't protect. There's the Claw there, and he kills himself, and now we can just chip the Whimsicott here with the Wave Crash. He actually plays relatively decently here. So here's the Meowscarada, and he's smart. He goes into Dragonite here to preserve the Whimsicott because he sees his Tailwind turns are ticking, and he wants to make sure that he removes the Dondozo as well as the Tatsugiri at the same time here, right? So there's my Wave Crash that was going into Whimsicott stop. So now he can just remove the Dozo, right? And now he can also remove the Tatsugiri, but because it's not banned and he went for Aerial Ace, that doesn't pick up the KO, and that actually loses him the game, believe it or not. So he does Extreme Speed, but that's okay, because now I can just simply get the Meowscarada down to Sash. I go into Farigiraf, and I go into Dragapult here. He goes for a knockoff, but we have so much bulk we are able to live. No Tailwind, so that means Dragapult gets to have the final say. He goes into Whimsicott. That's a mistake, because now we create this pin where my Farigiraf attacks, and Dragapult kills both anyway. But now with Hyper Voice creating the pin, the Whimsicott drops, no chance for Tailwind, and now you just win the game, right? Because and he already knows it too. He just Extreme Speeds his own Whimsicott. His own, you know, Meowscarada, and then says, you know what, that's it. You know, you got me. All right, so how about the mirror, right? So the Talonflame Goldengo stuff. So basically, again, it's gonna play very similarly. You need your own Dondozo for this Dondozo, right? So there's my Dragapult, and there's Dondozo yet again, okay? Very commonly that I like to do, just nuke something, okay? Outrage, he didn't even go for Tailwind, he didn't even go for Brave Bird. He goes for Will-O-Wisp, right, into my Dondozo, but there's the Shadow Ball. Guess what this is? It's the Zoroark. Sorry, all right? No Tailwind for you. Dragapult is the faster mod, or he goes Protector, which is actually pretty smart. So this is where, like, Outrage kind of, like, gets me punished here, but I kind of needed it in the beginning so I wouldn't, you know, lose here. So he goes for Will-O-Wisp. He burns my D-Pull, but D-Pull already did its job here. So he goes into Tatsugiri now. Any free damage I can get is good, but of course I'm just going to whiff my Outrage. It went into the Tatsugiri slot. This is still fine, right? I deal pretty good damage into Dondozo here. He removes the Dragapult, but that's fine. It was already burned. It wasn't doing any damage. I would have just tried to, you know, hit the Dondozo if anything. Pult was not doing any damage. So now there's my actual Dondozo. Okay, now I can go into Tatsugiri. I am Jolly. All right, so I am the fastest kind of Dondozo, and now I can just simply nuke him with Terra Blast, Terra Grass. He did not Terra. He probably thought, oh, wait, I can live anything he has. Makes a mistake there. Again, best of one. So now it's just Talonflame Tatsugiri. It doesn't do anything. Again, Dragon Pulse. You know, funny enough, we just removed the Talonflame. He didn't even try and go for like a Tailwind here. Not that Tatsugiri was going to kill whatever I had, but it still would have been cool. But again, he can't break through. We just remove everything here. And it's not even a Sash Tatsugiri, and that's really it. And, you know, again, Zoroark having some good value in this game. But, of course, just Dragapult having tons of damage with Outrage was also good. Again, we did pay a little bit, but, again, we were just so far ahead that it just didn't matter. Okay, yeah, so those are your two teams. So give this type of Psyspam a go, and then you can also give this Zoroark Dondozo kind of team a go. So shout-outs to, again, Amarchine for the inspiration here. And again, this is also a pretty cool team. You know, Annihilape, Assault Vest with the Maushold idea, you know, with just the population bomb, beat up, follow me stuff. And then, of course, you got Sneasler, Indeedee, Delphox, Whimsicott here, you know, for fast aggression, and you know, you're gonna go through your games relatively quickly, right? So, and that's what we want from the Grand Challenge. All right, just be aggressive and have some of these tech choices that may just work once, but all you need is to have them work once. Okay, so give these two teams a go and let us know how you do. Hopefully this gives you something to play. But yeah, have fun in the Grand Challenge. Hope you enjoy. We'll be back in another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.